Today, we're diving into one of the most famous and, honestly, one of the most unsettling stories ever told. It's a parable that claims to answer a question that, kind of haunts all of us.
So, what's it all about? I mean, what's the final exam for humanity? When everything's on the line, what's the one single standard we're all going to be judged by? Well, this ancient story, the parable of the sheep and the goats, it gives us an answer. And it's probably not the one you're expecting.
All right, let's set the scene. The story kicks off by painting this picture of a huge, totally cosmic event. We're talking about the final judgment.
Just try to picture the scale of this. I mean, this isn't just one country or one group of people. We're talking all the nations, literally all of humanity gathered in one place. And they're standing before this divine king, this son of man on a glorious throne, surrounded by angels? Wow, this is it, the ultimate final reckoning.
So what's the first thing this king does? He starts dividing everybody up. And he uses this really simple, down-to-earth metaphor, a shepherd, separating the sheep from the goats. It's such a powerful image, right? A final, decisive separation. There's no gray area here, no middle ground. You're either a sheep or you're a goat. Okay, so how does he decide? What's the criteria for this great big separation? This is where the story takes its first really surprising turn. The standard for judgment, it's not at all what you'd probably guess. It has nothing to do with how much you know about religion, or how much power you had, or how much money you made. Instead, the king's test boils down to these 6 super practical questions. They are all about simple, compassionate things you do for people who are struggling. And get this, these are the acts of mercy that apparently determine everything. So now the story zooms in on the 2 groups, the sheep and the goats. And their reactions, well, their reactions are almost as important as what they did or didn't do. And this is where we hit the central mystery of the whole parable. Both groups are totally clueless. The good guys, the sheep, they have no idea when they ever served the king. And the other group, the goats, they have no memory of ever ignoring him. It's wild. Neither group even knew they were taking a test. So this shared confusion, this "what are you talking about" from both sides, it leads us right to the climax of the story. This is the big reveal, the moment the king finally explains what's really been going on. And here it is. The king lays it all out. He says that he was there the whole time, but in disguise. He was in the poor, the stranger, the person who was suffering. So every simple act of kindness, giving someone a piece of bread, a cup of water, just visiting someone who was lonely, that was actually being done directly to him. And for the other group, well, the logic is exactly the same, just with a devastating twist. Every time they ignored someone, every time they looked away from a person in need, they were actually looking away from the king himself. Oof.
A story this powerful immediately brings up a huge theological question, right? And the source material actually tackles it head on.
I mean, this is the obvious question, isn't it? If the final judgment is all about what you did, does that mean you can earn your way into heaven with good deeds? Well, according to the source we're looking at, the answer is a clear no. But the logic behind it is, well, it's a bit more subtle than that.
Okay, let's break this down. The argument goes like this. First, salvation is a gift. Period. You can't earn it. But, and this is the key, when someone truly accepts that gift, it creates a real, genuine faith deep in their heart. And that kind of faith isn't just, a thought. It changes you. It inevitably leads to loving actions. Think of it like fruit on a tree. So the actions aren't what saves you. They're the proof that you've been saved. This also helps us understand the flip side, what some sources call dead faith. What's that? It's a belief that just sits there. It never turns into action. It might look like the real thing on the surface, but underneath, it's totally lifeless. The analogy used is a body without a spirit. It has the shape of life, but there's nothing there. It's a claim with no proof to back it up. And all of this brings us to what might be the most shocking part of this whole interpretation. Who exactly were the goats? Who were the ones who failed the test? Get this, the argument is that the goats aren't the outsiders, the non-believers. No, the goats are the insiders. They're the hypocritical believers. Did you notice they call the king Lord? These were people who were part of the community. They knew the lingo, but their faith was all talk. It never actually changed them or produced any genuine, loving action.
I mean, the contrast here is just so stark. On the outside, it looked like they had it all together. They said the right prayers, called Jesus Lord, maybe even went to church and gave some money. But the reality? Their hearts were totally unchanged. They'd walk right past a needy person, a brother or sister, and in doing so, they were walking right past the king. They had the form of godliness, as the saying goes, but they denied its real power, which is love.
So as we start to pull all this together, the core message of this story becomes crystal clear. The final test isn't about what you know or what rituals you perform. It's a test of love.
And you might ask, why the focus on actions? Well, it's because actions make the invisible visible, right? I mean, we can't see into another person's heart. Heck, half the time we don't even know what's in our own hearts. But our actions don't lie. They are the hard evidence of what we really believe and what we truly love.
There's a verse that just nails this whole idea perfectly. It says, "They profess to know God, but by their actions they deny him." That's the goats in a nutshell. They said all the right things, but their actions, or really their inaction, screamed the complete opposite.
And of course, that flips the entire story right back onto us, doesn't it? It forces us to ask a really tough question. If our smallest, most ordinary actions toward other people are seen as actions for or against the king, then what story is my daily life telling? What kind of relationship am I actually building? And that, right there, is the crucial question this whole parable leaves us wrestling with.